Kissy Missy, also known as the female version of Huggy Wuggy and his companion in the Poppy Playtime universe, is a character who has captured the attention of fans. Although at first glance she might seem like just a feminine counterpart to the famous blue monster, Kissy Missy is neither violent nor savage like Huggy Wuggy. In fact, she helps us directly in the game and watches us with a special curiosity, which has led many to theorize about her true role and why she doesn't share the aggressiveness of her male counterpart. In this video, we will explore in detail the history and origins of Kissy Missy and Poppy Playtime. To do so, I'll first briefly talk about the origin of Huggy Wuggy and the success this character represented for the fictional company, Playtime Co. Huggy Wuggy was a revolutionary toy created by Playtime Co., a company that achieved great popularity thanks to its innovative dolls. This character, with his tall, thin design covered in blue fur, became a resounding success in 1984. His special feature was hugging people when they hugged him, which, combined with his cute appearance, made him extremely popular among children. Huggy Wuggy's sales skyrocketed, and the doll sold like hotcakes. Seeing this success, Playtime Co's marketing team decided to seize the opportunity and create a female version of the character to further boost their profits. Thus, Kissy Missy was born in 1985. This new toy not only replicated Huggy Wuggy's success, but offered something even more innovative. In addition to hugging, she could give kisses to children, making her a more affectionate and loving version. This practice of launching a female version of a popular male character is common in the toy industry, as it allows companies to reach a broader audience and double their sales. In Kissy Missy's case, her pink design and friendlier personality established her as Huggy Wuggy's official romantic interest within the Poppy Playtime universe. Throughout the first chapter of the game, we can see hints of Kissy Missy's presence through posters and advertisements within Playtime Co.'s abandoned factory. For example, at the train station, there's a large Kissy Missy poster we can interact with. By pressing a button, a recording of her voice plays, where she appears dressed as a train conductor and talks to us about the company's rules. However, it's not until the second chapter that Kissy Missy makes her physical appearance, and she does so in an unforgettable way. Kissy Missy was created by Playtime Co-owners in 1985, a year after Huggy Wuggy's release. The latter had been a massive hit, and the company wanted to further increase sales with a female version of the blue doll. The strategy worked. Kissy Missy not only maintained Huggy's popularity, but boosted the profits of both products. This is a common practice in the toy industry, and for Playtime Company, it was a total success. However, initially there was no life-sized version of Kissy Missy. It wasn't until the winter of 1991 that the company's scientists transferred the consciousness of a person, quite possibly an orphaned girl, into the body of this living toy. That's how the Kissy Missy we know was born, and at first she was confined to a warehouse known as Storage B, where she spent most of her time. Everything changed in 1995, during the event known as the Hour of Joy at the Playtime Co factory. Influenced by the prototype, Kissy Missy rebelled against the scientists and doctors. When they tried to move her to the play care area where the orphanage and school were located, a blackout occurred. It's implied that the prototype freed her and she attacked violently. She struck and knocked out 2 workers, chased another, and killed him off-screen. She returned to the train loading area covered in blood and eventually reached the Home Sweet Home orphanage and play care, where she spent years isolated. Let's jump to 2005, when the events of Poppy Playtime take place. In Chapter 2, Kissy Missy appears directly for the first time and helps the protagonist by pulling a lever to open a door in the train car area. Then she leaves without further interaction, likely following instructions from Poppy, her great friend and ally. In Chapter 3, we see her again in a room at the orphanage. There, Kissy Missy holds a photograph of a little girl with sadness and nostalgia, suggesting she remembers her human life before becoming a toy. But also, according to other theories, that girl whom Kissy Missy is looking at with so much nostalgia could be herself before she was turned into that sad experiment. Although she doesn't interact with the protagonist at that moment, later, after a hallucination caused by catnap and the activation of a generator in the basement, Kissy Missy charges at him and seems ready to attack. However, Poppy intervenes, stopping her and explaining that the protagonist isn't the enemy. Poppy apologizes, saying the place makes Kissy tense and assures him everything will be okay. We reach the end of Chapter 3. After defeating Catnap, who is assimilated by the prototype, Poppy explains what the Hour of Joy was. Kissy Missy appears again, lifts Poppy onto an elevator and pulls a lever to lower them. As they descend, Poppy warns the protagonist that they must prepare to face the prototype in the underground labs. But at that moment, a fierce roar is heard, followed by Kissy Missy's heart-wrenching screams. Poppy shouts her name and begs her to hold on, but the hatch closes, leaving them in darkness with no way to help her. Poppy, desperate, tells the protagonist to continue through the caverns and promises to return for her friend. We move forward exploring and keep hearing Kissy's screams until, in the prison of Chapter 4, Poppy and Kissy suddenly reappear. They save us by hiding us from the prototype, who was lurking nearby. Here we see Kissy Missy alive, but in terrible condition. She's burned, but with half her body damaged. A drooping eye, bandages applied by Poppy, a sling on her right arm, and her left leg deteriorated. Despite everything, she's still alive. Later, they enter the safe haven shelter where Kissy sits to rest, visibly weakened and exhausted from her injuries. Neither Poppy nor Doughy the Doman explain what happened to her, leaving the attack a mystery. There are two main theories about who attacked her. The first suggests it was a version of the Bigger Bodies Initiative Simon Smoke, a plush dragon that could breathe fire. The second, which I find more plausible, points to the prototype, Experiment 1006. The main villain alongside humans like Dr. Harley Sawyer and Elliot Ludwig. Friend, if you're enjoying my epic video, remember to subscribe and leave me your delicious like. Now, let's talk about her physical appearance and what we know about her personality. Kissy Missy is very similar to Huggy Wuggy in design. She's tall, thin, and covered in thick fur, but in her case, it's pink. She shares features like yellow mitten-shaped hands and feet, and large, black, bulging eyes. However, her giant eyelashes and prominent red lips give her a more feminine touch. We don't know if, like Huggy Wuggy, she has additional jaws full of sharp teeth, or can open her mouth grotesquely, but her flexibility and elasticity are evident, allowing her to move easily through the factory. Despite the unknowns, there are clues about her personality. Kissy Missy was designed to be affectionate, kissing and hugging those who interacted with her as a toy. This is reflected in the game, where she shows no hostility toward the protagonist. In advertising shared by Mob Games, the creators of Poppy Playtime, Kissy Missy is described as the best part of Huggy Wuggy, suggesting that she's not only his romantic partner, but has a kinder, calmer personality. Additionally, in Playtime Co's viral campaign posters, Kissy Missy reminds employees of the company's rules. Be kind, arrive on time, don't scare others, don't interfere with machinery, and don't enter restricted areas without authorization. This positions her as a sort of rule enforcer, a benevolent figure in contrast to the other living toys that act as threats. Why doesn't Kissy Missy attack us and instead helps us? A popular fan theory is that she might be following someone's orders. Perhaps Elliot Ludwig, the founder of Playtime Co, whose name appears in tapes and documents in the game. In one recording, Ludwig warns intruders about the factory's sophisticated security systems, like motion detectors and cameras, but also hints at more hostile methods he doesn't specify. While Huggy Wuggy seems to be an aggressive guardian designed to hunt intruders, Kissy Missy might have been created with a different purpose, to ensure rules are followed and report issues to superiors, rather than attack directly. Another possibility is that Kissy Missy helps the protagonist because she recognizes him as a former factory employee, someone who doesn't pose a threat or violate the rules she upholds. It could also be that after years of abandonment, the presence of a living human intrigues her, sparking curiosity rather than hostility. Whatever the reason, her behavior contrasts with Huggy Wuggy's, who stalks and attacks mercilessly, making her even more enigmatic. In conclusion, Kissy Missy is a fascinating character who brings freshness to the Poppy Playtime mythology. Her design, personality, and decision to help the protagonist instead of attacking him open up endless theories and debates among fans. Personally, I loved her brief appearance in the second chapter, and in general how she helped the player so he wouldn't fall in Chapter 4, and seeing how she lost her arm helping the player moved me because Kissy is literally dying just to help us. And I hope she returns in the future, alongside the terrifying Huggy Wuggy, to continue exploring this complex and exciting story. What do you think? Do you agree with my interpretation of why Kissy Missy doesn't attack us? Or do you have your own theory? Leave me your comments below and share your opinion about this character and the world of Poppy Playtime.
I'm sorry.
Some friend, huh?
Don't worry, I'll find her.